Bhagavad-gita chanting, chapter 10, verses 1 to 10.
अथ दशमोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवानुवाच भूय एव महाबाहो शृणु मे परमं वचः यत्तेऽहं प्रीयमाणाय वक्ष्यामि हितकाम्यया न मे विदुः सुरगणाः प्रभवं न महर्षयः अहमादिर्हि देवानां महर्षीणां च सर्वशः यो मामजमनादिं च वेत्ति लोकमहेश्वरम् असम्मूढः समर्थ्येषु सर्वपापैः प्रमुच्यते बुद्धिर्ज्ञानमसम्मोहः क्षमा सत्यं दमः शमः सुखं दुःखं भवो भावः भयं चाभयमेव च अहिंसा समता तुष्टिः तपोदानं यशो यशः भवन्ति भावा भूतानां मत्त एव पृथग्विधाः महर्षयः सप्त पूर्वे चत्वारो मनवस्तथा मद्भावा मानसा जाताः येषां लोक इमाः प्रजाः एतां विभूतिं योगं च मम यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः सोऽविकम्पेन योगेन युज्यते नात्र संशयः अहं सर्वस्य प्रभवः मत्तः सर्वं प्रवर्तते इति मत्वा भजन्ते मां बुधा भावसमन्विताः मच्चित्ता मद्गतप्राणाः बोधयन्त परस्परं कथयन्तश्च मां नित्यं तुष्यन्ति च रमन्ति च तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकं ददामि बुद्धियोगं तं येन मामुपयान्ति ते
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We keep saying God is all pervading. Yes.
Sir, in the previous class, you had mentioned that as we move in the spiritual path and we are withdrawing, we develop an aversion to worldly things. And it is bhakti alone that can help us remove this aversion. Can you please explain how this happens?
See, I don't know. Did I say bhakti alone can? I don't know. Devotion helps in this way. That doesn't mean jnanam will not help. Jnana also can help. See, jnana will also help. Karma may not help in this aspect, but definitely jnanam can help you to get over. But then bhakti is easier way of getting it over between the two. So if we fix the position carefully first, we are not talking about bhakti of a person who is in the first step of spiritual journey. No. In the first step, he is totally involved in the world. He is trying to extricate himself from his involvement. Right. So to him, the recommendation is you take this Prathipaksha Bhavana. Right. With the knowledge of viewing it from a different angle. Or Prathipaksha Bhavana, strictly what it means is looking the defect side of your involvement. That is the meaning of Prathipaksha Bhavana. Looking at from the other side, because you are seeing only this side. You are only seeing what is attractive in this. Prathipaksha is to see what is the other side. What is the other side? Non-attractive side is there. So you have to see it from that side to take you out of this involvement. So invariably, when you are looking at the defect constantly, what is the dosha or what is the mistake? What is wrong? How bad it is? How much of effort you put in, what the returns you get? You're wasting your time. When you keep seeing this all the time, invariably what will happen? Over a period of time, instead of getting detachment, you will get aversion. See, if you read few, masters' description about wealth and women and all that, we think, they are very anti. Oh, the way they describe, you read it, oh, you. After that, you can't look at anything. You see, it looks so like is what you get, right? But what we fail to recognize is that is spoken of to whom. That's not the final message. That material is supposed to be given to this person. Now, I have seen many people take that itself as the finality. You see, no, it doesn't work like that. To pull you out of your involvement, they give a very forceful other side. Like he says in Bhagavadgita, Nari sthanabara nabhi desham, Drishtva maha moha vesham. What is this? Na vikaram, he says. Ethan mamsa hati vikaram. Then what are you supposed to do? Manasi vichintaya varam varam. Again and again. Again and again keep reflecting. That is why we call that as a introductory text. Bhajagovindam is an introductory text. Why? Because that is addressed to a person who is trying to move out. Right. Now what has happened? He is not as involved as he was earlier. Now he has become little detached. But the tragedy is, along with the detachment of his, he carries one more thing. What is it, sir? He will carry a sort of an aversion towards that area, whether it is women or whether it is family or whether it is wealth, fame, name, whatever you call. Anywhere you go, even knowledge also, you get averse to knowledge. See, what is aversion to knowledge? How do you know? Wealth is only very easy to understand. How do you know? You have, instead of developing detachment using the knowledge, you have got aversion to it. What is aversion? Not that you will not stop engaging. You will engage it only with that one particular source. You see that? Only that one person who speaks about Brahman, God, you will get inspired. Anyone else speaking about Brahman, God, you will get what? That is the point. At that stage, what are you supposed to do? You're all with me? First, when you are starting, anyone who speaks about Atman, Brahman, God, self-realization, this, that, and all, when anybody speaks, everybody looks interesting and inspiring to you. First step. Then what happens? You will start associating with anyone. After a point, what will happen? Only if that person speaks, you will get inspired about realization. Brahman. Tattvamasi. When he says, only when he says, you will listen to it. Wow. Same thing told by another person. See, that means you are moved in a wrong direction. No doubt, you are getting inspired when that man says, when that one personality speaks, you get inspiration. All other personalities, what has happened now? This is where the problem comes, two people. So how do you get over that now? Only when you are able to see that whoever speaks about Brahman is the same. That demands what? He is also Brahman, this is also Brahman, this is also Brahman, this is also God, that is also God. Everything is God's expression only. The moment you understand everything is God's expression only, then what will happen? That aversion will go. But you can't say, from now I'm going to start from that. This is where the problem is. See, this is why we need a guide, we say. You need a proper guide to direct you what you are supposed to do at that stage. You cannot take that stand now and say, this is what we are all going to do, sir. Sir, I am already seeing everyone equal. This is what you were in the first step. You see that? In the first step, everybody speaks inspiring. Right? Inspiring in the sense interesting, engaging. That is the meaning I'm saying. I'm not saying, immediately you are going to start the spiritual journey and all that. That's not what I'm saying. Anyone who speaks, it is engaging to you. Interesting. That's about it. Now what is it? The third step. You start the journey then. Second step is to start the journey. Then you keep on associating with one aspect. You start seeing what is the defect, what is wrong in this, what is wrong in this. In the case of the other one, this example is different, that example is different. But either case, in both the cases, what is happening, sir? Consequence is what? Aversion. What do you know? After a point, you feel, nah, what he speaks, I'm not interested. But the same thing told by another person is very interesting. So your focus is where? The personality. Now you can't say in the first step, it is a must. What? Personality is a must in the first step. You cannot say, oh, personality doesn't mean, sir. So therefore, I'm going to see only what is being said, no matter who that says. It will not work. You have to get involved in that first. You have to get that aversion and then get out. If you are expecting that I am going to get directly detached, directly without any side effects, I'm going to grow, you have no understanding of what the spiritual path is. So step 1, involvement. Step 2, you start developing, you start gaining knowledge or do whatever spiritual effort that you put in. When you put in that spiritual effort, what will happen, sir? You will move from this extreme to another extreme. Everyone, extreme is what? Only one. You have to come here, stay there for a period of time, and then get out. You cannot be hit and run case. 90% of our case is hit and run. You just go and touch and come back. Like, you know, in that kabaddi, you say, you just go and touch and come back. That's all. That way, there's nothing you are going to gain. You have to touch that and then what? Stay. Longer you stay, more chances of you to get points. You touch and run, nothing will happen. Of course, you can't say it is fault. That's what happens in the study classes. What is happening? Every Sunday morning, I come and go. What is it? Touch and run. That's all happens. Nothing happens out of it. But this is a minimum. If you ask me, Ishwaran, what is, that's a minimum. But will you score? You cannot score. You have, if you want to score, you have to stay there. When you stay in that other side, what is the byproduct of that staying? A sort of the Dvesha you will get. Like irritation. You see. And then you have to come back. What will help you to come back is to see divinity in all aspects. Wherever you see anything beautiful, attractive, valuable, you see that as divinity expression. You see intelligence, divinity. You see beauty, divinity. You see precious something, divinity. So wherever you go, you will see this as divine expression, divine expression, divine expression. This divine expression will pluck out that Dvesha sticking with your Vairagya. Then you will have a pure Vairagya. Right now, you are not having a pure Vairagya. That's why we call this a sort of indifference. From involvement, you will switch over to indifference. From indifference, you have to come to this. For this shift, you can do it intellectually also. Right? That is also possible. Not that it is not possible. But if you understand all this erstwhile or the things that you are seeing as ugly as divine expression, divinity personification, after that what will happen? Earlier you are seeing women as mistress, right? Now you will see as mother. What is the difference? It's a word of difference, no? Between the two. So Bhajagovindam will help you to get rid of that mistresshood, the way you look at it. Chapter 10 will instill motherhood. That will pluck that out. When that has been plucked out, there cannot be a vacuum there. If there is a vacuum, all the things from the surroundings will rush in. So don't keep it as a vacuum. Immediately refill. With what you have to refill? Motherhood. That's why you read Saundarya Lahari. Describing the beauty of the goddess. Saundarya Lahari. Beautiful it is. You see Bhajagovindam and you see Saundarya Lahari, you will not believe it is the same author who authored both. It must be, that's why the scholars, they don't consider this must be written by Shankara. No, this Shankara is not the author. Somebody else in the name of Shankara has authored it. Why? Because here he says this, there he says this. Now, how can one person carry both the attitudes? That's why we call those people as Jagat Gurus. Why Shankara is called as a Jagat Guru? Because he gives this for you at that stage. This is given this stage. If you read this there, won't work. If you read that here, won't work. That is the 10th chapter. There you start seeing the beauty, the divinity. So now it is the expression of divinity. After that, you can't have a Dvesha. The ugliness is gone. That aversion will disappear. That is the context of the chapter. So that's why 10th chapter is a very important one. Of course, every chapter we will say, including the first chapter, we will say very important one. It's setting the stage, so it's important, no? That. Verse 1.
श्रीभगवानुवाच भूय एव महाबाहो शृणु मे परमं वचः यत्तेऽहं प्रीयमाणाय वक्ष्यामि हितकाम्यया। श्रीभगवानुवाच भूय एव महाबाहो शृणु मे परमं वचः यत्तेऽहं प्रीयमाणाय वक्ष्यामि हितकाम्यया।
Blessed Lord said, O Mahabaho, mighty armed. Listen again to my supreme word, which I will speak to you who are delighted for your welfare. So some chapters, Arjuna asks a question, then the whole chapter is the answer of Krishna. Few chapters, Krishna himself starts. Right. So this is one such chapter where Krishna is answering. Or he is picking up a new topic. Now here he is spelling out these 3 verses, 1, 2, and 3, where he glorifies. What is the glory of the knowledge? The glory of the jnana, what he is going to teach. So he says, I am going to speak that again. Bhuya. Bhuyaha means again. I've told this several times to you that in the scripture, repetition is a error. There are rules they have for a book. You see, so the books should not be having, they give about 10 defects, they say, in a book. Anything when you write, it should not carry those 10 defects. One such defect is repeating. Not allowed. So repetition is not allowed. But here we see an authoritative text like the Gita repeating. And Krishna himself says that I am repeating. Listen to me again, he says. Oh, again you listen. What is it? Now here when he says again, this again is not a simple repetition. It's not repeating, remember. If you call it as a repetition, then we need to understand why he has to repeat it. Why repetition, sir? The teacher repeats something for 2 reasons, essentially. First reason is the subtlety of the subject demands repetition. It's not easy to grasp. You see, the subject is so subtle. So what you are studying here is a subtle one. Because of the subtlety, we say you need to repeat. Difficulty. Subtlety means it is difficult. One. Another circumstance where the teacher repeats is till the teacher is satisfied the student has understood. He will repeat. From this we take a clue. What is that we take? How long you got to listen? I remember a few years back, one fellow said, we are having the seminar. Swamiji's seminar is there. What's the topic? Stress seminar. I have attended stress seminar. I have attended Swamiji's stress seminar. So I asked him, has the stress gone? No. Enroll. You see, because if you have understood what the material given there means, what should have happened? Stress should not be there. Now, if you say, I'm still having stress, but I have attended stress seminar, means what is the meaning of that? You have not understood. So, till you understand what you are supposed to do, Keep listening. Keep listening. Again and again and again, you got to listen. See, so that's a clue we take. Where you have to repeat the same things here. Whenever the subject is subtle, difficult portions, you have to repeat. Now, what Krishna is going to explain is a very subtle idea. Example is very simple. Remember, gold in ornaments. You will not have any problem. What is the difficulty? Gold in ornaments. Clay pot. You will not have any problem in understanding clay and pot. But when it comes to world and God, it's impossible. So how long you have to listen to? Till you are able to see. Till you should be able to see. So the repetition is to give that clarification, to clarify. And repetition clarifies your understanding. Your understanding gets clearer and clearer and clearer as you keep listening to it again and again and again. Of course, all the rules of listening, remember that. The rules of listening, you got to do that Shravana. Not just, simply sitting and listening. Not hearing. Right? We are not talking about repeated hearing. We are talking about repeated listening. Shravana. So first line says, listen again, O Mahabaho, mighty armed fellow. You are a great fellow, so-called by those fellows. Listen to my greatness and see how great you are. That's a beauty here. He says, Mahabaho, mighty armed, great. You need to be a great person to listen to the greatness of another person. Understood? See, if you are a small fellow, not possible. You need that might. You need the greatness to listen. That's why he calls him as Mahabaho. Listen again to my supreme word. Paramam Vachaha. What is the supreme word? Sir, how can there be a word which is supreme? The word fire is not fire, no? Isn't it? But then he says the word is supreme. Why? Transfer epithet. What is the content? What you get? What is it referring to? Is supreme. So the word is supreme. Because I say transfer epithet and all that, I know English. Example Swamiji gave. Yes. It's a hospitable door. A door is not hospitable. Door lena hospitability. Huh? So teak wood door is there, steel door is there, door is there. Hospitable door. Go to the furniture shop and ask, I want a hospitable door. There's no such thing, no. Yeah. They'll think hospital. So when they say hospitable door, we are referring to what? The people in that house are all hospitable. So we say the door is hospitable. Similarly, what is the understanding this word is going to bestow upon you is so great that greatness is attributed to the word. See, so that's why we call it as Paramam Vacha, says supreme word, which I will speak to you. Why? Why I speak to you is a qualification of a student. This is a quality of a student. Listen, who are delighted. Priyamanaya, who are delighted. You're delighted to listen. You're excited. You feel so intoxicated listening. There should be a passion to listen. If there's a passion to listen, it is interesting to speak. There is no passion to listen. Boring. So he says, this you are delighted. Why is he delighted? Arjuna is delighted. Why? Anyone who reads Bhagavad Gita will be delighted. Why? Not because of you. Not because of your qualification. Because of the material. What is the material here? You. Anytime you talk about yourself, you get excited. La? Isn't it? You go for a wedding. They take a group photograph. Right? Engagement also. They take photographs. Right? After that, you know, next 1 or 2 years, you should not go to their house. After wedding, or particularly, when they go abroad first time, come back, don't go to their house minimum 1 year. Don't meet them. Because the problem is, they will immediately give their, tablet. Olden days and all, they have to take a photograph, click that, bring the film, develop it, and then print all that. So it'll be just about, 50, 60 photos and scan through. Now this all digital, no. Left, right, center, they take pictures. Selfie, 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 selfie. You see pictures and all those things there. They give you that and say, see. How you see? Huh? And the tragedy is they'll be sitting in front of you. So if you are very smart, what you should do? Quickly drink that water. Ask them, can I have a little more? Say, they bring. What you should go to the last page before they come back. There's nothing interesting to you. Wedding album, which one you will see? Where you are standing. Isn't it? That one photograph where you are standing in a corner. That is interesting, no? To see. That's what delight is. Why? One is the student's qualification. The student should be having that. If the student is not delighted, excited, the teacher will not be interested to speak. But here he says, Arjuna, you are delighted. Why? Not because Arjuna is a great student or anything. Because the material as such. See, material is talking about your glory. So Mahabaho, you are knowing, people call you as Mahabaho, great. Do you know your greatness? They know your greatness. The greatness that they have attributed to is to your body. Mighty armed. Body. I am talking about your being. How mighty your being is. Obviously, If this itself gives you such a kick, and I'm talking about you, what a kick you should be getting. That's why he says delighted. Priyamanaya. Just because you are delighted, that doesn't mean I am obliged to talk. You see, I am not talking to entertain you, isn't it? Rajmouli is making a movie. For what? To educate you on Ramayana. It's not the case. That is for entertainment purpose, which is exciting. It's so gripping. You saw that movie? How many of you saw? RRR. RRR. You're not watched. Ramanavami, you should go and watch that movie, RRR. I will also join. I don't know what you people do in life. Gripping entertainment. Delighted. You come out and say, what? What a movie, man. Whew. Delighted. But after that, what happens? Nothing happens. No, for what I'm doing it, man. He says, I'm not just coming here to speak and entertain you. And speaking for what? Speaking for your welfare. For your good, he says. This is the reason why a teacher speaks. Hitakamyaya, he says. For your welfare. For your goodness, I'm speaking. For your shreyas, I'm speaking. Remember. Not to please you. It's not for pleasing you. This is spoken of to give you this. So two things are given here. One is hita. Another one is the delight. Priya. It is Priyamanaya. So it is delight. Also it is good. Shankara says, this is like Amrita, he says. That's why this knowledge is equated to Amrita. What is Amrita is? That is consumed by the Devas. Right. A herbal juice consumed by them, which keeps them immortal, always young, energetic. Because of that, they are like this. And what is the taste of it? It is good. Amrita is good. Sir, you're always young, no? You don't need to worry about anti-aging cream. You don't have to go for, hair dye, makeup. Nothing is needed. All that you have to do is just have one shot. Every day, have one shot. Problem solved. Very good, sir. But the tragedy is, the taste is like horrible. After 2 hours, you can't eat anything. You feel like, pluck the tongue out and keep it outside. No, Amrita is what? So sweet. Sweet, which is good. Is there anything better than that in life? Because a natural taste, every being has his sweetness. Isn't it? What is liked by everyone is sweet. Amrita, he says. It is like that. You're drinking this. Those devas are immortal, relatively. It's not absolute immortality. It is a relative immortality. That's about it. But the rule is same. If that is good, healthy, also it is sweet. Same way, this knowledge that I'm giving you is also what? Is good. Also it is sweet. Nectarine knowledge, says. Continue.
न मे विदुः सुरगणाः प्रभवं न महर्षयः अहमादिर्हि देवानां महर्षीणां च सर्वशः न मे विदुः सुरगणाः प्रभवं न महर्षयः अहमादिर्हि देवानां महर्षीणां च सर्वशः.
Neither the hosts of gods nor the great sages know my origin. For in all respects, I am the source of all the gods, the great sages. So neither the hosts of gods nor the great sages know my origin. For in all respects, I am the source of all the gods and the great sages. Essentially, he says nobody knows. Nobody knows. Only I know. That I'm going to tell you, he says. He's referring to the Devas. This Suraganaha means the gods, the Devas. Opposite of that is what you are all familiar with. Asuraganaha. Asura means opposite. That all of us are familiar with. That Suragana we are not familiar with. We know them as Devas only. See, that name is known to all of us. Like all of you know my name as Ishwaran. Right. At home they call me Manigandan. That name you don't know. Some of you may know. Most of you don't know. Now that you know, still you will be calling me as what? Ideally, don't call. So we are not familiar with this name. So what he is referring to, Suragana, means those Devas. Devaganas is what is referred, hosts of gods. That's the meaning. Then Maharishi. Maharishis is the great sages. So the Devas don't know and the Rishis also don't know. Right. Which means he says the cream of creation don't know. That's all it means. Don't know means what? Not that they do not know anything. Don't know fully. That's why immediately he comes and says, in all respects. See, full detail they don't know. They know. But complete detail they don't know. Like that. So who knows? Only I know that. So immediately he comes and says why they don't know. Why they were not able to know me in full respects? Because I am the source. I am the source of all those gods and rishis. So how are they going to know? They will not know me. So that's what he's giving here. So essentially, why he's saying this now? I'm a great student. I'm really excited. I want to learn. I want to hear, but I have a better teacher. You know, அங்க போய் கத்துக்கிறேன். If you think, Arjuna, no chance. You cannot learn this from any other source. I am the only source for you. What arrogance he must be having. You know, to say that. Yes. You can't learn. Essentially, what he's saying in verse 2 is this. You cannot learn. So don't go to Maharishi and say, Bhrigu is there. No, I will go and learn from Bhrigu. Vasishta is there. I'll go and learn from Vasishta. No, Vyasa is there. I'll go and learn from Vyasa. Why should I be listening to you, man? So he establishes that. He says, you cannot get it from any other source. I am the only source. So when he says, I, two ways of understanding this. I've told this several times. One is devotional aspect. Another one is intellectual aspect. Devotional aspect is what? Krishna is the source. For Arjuna. Right. For Ananda, who is the source? Buddha is the source. Correct. For Sureshwaracharya, Shankara is the source. Shankara is the only source. There is no other source. Like that it is. So to that student, that guru. So don't say immediately, Krishna is only source. So now I am also going to go to Krishna. Where is Krishna now? You keep a photograph. A photograph is not the person, no. Isn't it? Of course. You give all respects to the photograph as though the person is. But he's not there. But Arjuna's case is not that. Krishna is actually standing. So what he is referring to here, devotional aspect, when you take, don't take it as blindly taking Krishna immediately as problem solved. No, no, no. Devotional doesn't mean minus all any application of buddhi. Remember, very limited intelligence only you apply. What is the minimum intelligence you applied here? A guru who is alive and accessible. Krishna is standing physically in front of Arjuna. Right. Also, Krishna is accessible to Arjuna. It's not that Krishna is sitting in Dwaraka, Arjuna is sitting in the Kurukshetra. It's not like that. Krishna is there right in front of him. So he is alive and accessible. So the source which you have to go in search of should be what? Don't go to Devas. Don't say Maharishis, I'm going to go. You cannot learn from those places. Not that they don't know. You will not be able to get it. So he says, I am the source of. I am the source. They don't know all these things. So message-wise, if you take, devotionally what you understand this. That is the right source for me to gain this knowledge. One. Same thing intellectually, if you see. He says, the gods and the sages do not know me. Means the individual will never know the total. That's all it means. It means the child will never know the boyhood of the father, isn't it? The only way the child can know about the teenage of the father is how? Father has to say. Right? That's what he's saying. Don't go and ask the neighbors. Right? About my father, I wanted to know. Go and ask the neighbor. Neighbor will say one thing. Go to the school, school friends will say one thing. Go to the teachers, teachers will say something else. So no one will give you a complete knowledge about your father's teenage. Who is the source for that? The father is the source for it. That's all you need to know here. This mantra. Then comes all our applications. What is the meaning of the devas? Suraganaha means what? Then the list will be given there. You know, the Rudras and Maruts and Ganas and all that put together. All that, he says. The 11 Rudras, 8 Vasus, 12 Adityas, and 49 Maruts. Maruts means the wind gods. There are 49 types of wind gods we have. And 12 Adityas is a sun. 12 sun gods. Then Vasus, Rudras, Ashwini Kumara, Prajapati, Indra, Varuna, and others, etc. You can go on adding whatever names you comes into your mind. Add all those people. All that is referred as Suraganaha. Then the Rishis, Maharishis list. It keeps going on. Like, you know, Bhrigu, Vasishta, Sudama, Angira, Satri, Vishwamitra, Vasishta. These are the 7 Rishis, supposed to be the Maharishi category. And the list will be different. You see, different places, they will give different lists. So you don't have to worry about the list actually. But it's better to know. It's all there in the commentary. So you can see that. This is what I was referring to. You know, many things will come as new. You know, you need to pay attention to it. Now, you know, Devas is a very popular term. Suraganaha is not a popular term for us. So you need to pay attention. Okay, what is Suraganaha? Then all this put together is called Suraganaha. So he says, they don't know my origin. Why? Because I am the source of all the gods, the great sages. Continue.
Yo mamajamanadim cha vetti lokamaheshwaram asambudhas samartyeshu sarvapapai pramuchyate. Yo mamajamanadim cha vetti lokamaheshwaram asambudhas samartyeshu sarvapapai pramuchyate.
He who knows me as unborn, beginningless, and the Supreme Lord of the world, he, undeluded among mortals, is liberated of all sins. He who knows me as unborn. See, here what we have to do is to make it little understandable. I'm just aligning things. Change it a bit. So he gives the qualifications. First he says it is, what is my nature? I am the source. I cannot be known to about me. What is that? He gives certain points. First he says unborn. Anadhim, beginningless. And Loka Maheshwara. These are the 3 things he gives. So I'm just changing it a bit so it becomes easier for us to understand in a thought flow, in a particular way. The first one is we take it as Loka Maheshwara. Why Loka Maheshwara we start is, even though he stays Ajam, we prefer to start from, I prefer to start from Loka Maheshwara. Why? Because Loka is known to us. Unborn, beginningless, just words. We don't understand anything on that. But Loka we know. What is a Loka means? The world, what we are experiencing. So what is this? Loka Maheshwara means Ishvara is a Lord. Maheshwara is Supreme Lord, Great Lord. Great Lord of the world. Loka Maheshwara. That's the meaning here. So what is this? I am the one who is the governor of the entire world. I am the Supreme Lord of the world. So I govern it through my laws, through my rules. As per the rules that I had set, the whole world is functioning. So what is this? This is the Saguna Brahman first. So Loka Maheshwara, indication is what? Saguna Brahman. Brahman which is with qualities. Like, of course, simple understanding is like electricity saying, I am the Lord of the bulb, I am the Lord of the camera, I am the Lord of the speaker, I am the Lord of this fan, I am the Lord of this, I am the Lord of that. One by one it says. What is the meaning? All these are able to function because of my presence. If I switch off, all this is out. So I am the enlivening principle. In that sense, he says, I am the Great Lord of the world. How he has become the Great Lord of the world is with his own supreme power, which he had mentioned earlier. With my Yoga Maya, he has created this world. So, what is Ishwaratvam? The moment you bring in this term Ishwaratva, straight away you need to have in your mind. What is it? Immediately you are referring to Saguna Brahman. Saguna. Saguna means what? With Maya. Brahman coupled with Maya is Saguna Brahman. Brahman devoid of Maya, Nirguna Brahman. So easier to start from Loka Maheshwara. That's why I thought it's easy to start from there. Right. Then comes the next one. Even though I am the creator of this, the entire world, do I have a beginning? Can you show me the source? You can pinpoint to me as the source of this world. So I am the source of the world. But who is the source for me? That's what is Anadi. Anadi means causeless. Right. We also call few people, those who don't know their parents, or the parents are not there. They don't know. Those people we call as Anadi. They are not true. They don't know that they have actually. Only thing is they don't know who that is. That doesn't mean they don't have. Here, the fellow doesn't have. So he says, I am the source. But is there any cause for me? I am causeless. Karana Rahita. He says, I am causeless. Therefore, what I am beginningless, Anadhi. Since there is no beginning for me, therefore, what I have to be? Birth means beginning, no? Starting point. If I am beginningless, what I have to be? Therefore, I am Ajaha. Ajam, unborn, no birth. No birth means no death. No birth, no death means no change. So, go back to the first point. What is the first point? Nirguna Brahman coupled with Maya, Ishvara, world. So, any change that has happened in me, world is created. Any change happened in me, no change happened to me. But the world has come about it. How? That's what is known as Maya. Finished. It finishes the whole thing. The entire knowledge he packs in these 3 words. You know, he says, I am the Loka Maheshwara. Correct. For you, lower understanding of mind. Apara Prakriti. There is a Para Prakriti to me. He has referred it in the 7th chapter and 9th chapter. We have seen that. Okay, so that's why I'm not going into the details of that. The higher nature is what? Brahma in its Swarupa. By his own. On his own, what is he? He is Anadhi and Ajam. The one who has this understanding, I'm going to teach this to you. Arjuna, listen carefully. This is what I'm going to teach, which you cannot get from anyone else. And this is the greatness of mine. Thus greatness of mine I'm going to teach you. Okay, by knowing you are so great, what of it to me, man? Isn't it? Obviously, we ask the question, no? Okay, by knowing how great you are, huh? What of it to me? Immediately comes in the second line. Asammudaha. Asammudaha where? Asammudaha Martyeshu. In amongst the mortals. So, first effect of this knowledge is what? You become undeluded. Your delusion disappears. What is a delusion? You do not know the tree comes first or seed come first. Which came first? You don't understand. All this confusion in the world. What is right, what is wrong is confusion. What is good, what is bad is confusion. Who is your benefactor, who is your malefactor is confusion. All your priorities, everything is in confusion. With this knowledge, what will happen? All that confusion will disappear. You get such clarity. Where even though you may be living amongst the deluded people, indicating what? Jivan Mukti. Right? So he gives the jnana. What is the knowledge, sir? You get the knowledge of Saguna Brahman. Also you get the knowledge of Nirguna Brahman. Both the knowledge you get. With that knowledge, what is going to happen, sir? You get Jivan Mukti. Right? It's like you just put on your shoes and walk. There may be so much of dirt around, but your feet is clean, right? Like that. Doesn't matter. Not only this, Sarvapapaihi Pramuchyate is liberated from all sins. Sarvapapaihi. What is a papa? Papa, sin. Sin means all agitations, all disturbances. So here when he uses the word papa, sarva papaihi means papas plus punya is called sarva papai. Don't immediately think, all papas put together, he is saying sarva papai. No, no, no. Sarva papai means all papa and punyas. Why? Punya also is a form of a disturbance. That disturbance also is there. So that also goes away. Your punya also gets exhausted. Your papa is gone, your punya gone, everything is gone completely. Suggesting videha mukti. Just a suggestion. Don't ask me, where is the proof, Allah? Right? It's just a suggestion. So first he says, the one who is having this understanding gets rid of all delusion and he lives as a Jivan Mukta, Sthita Prajna amongst all these deluded people. And then what happens? Even the punyas that he has got also gone, meaning the punyas were the one which he has done in the past, or the papas in the past is what has caused this birth. This also goes. Sarva papai means this also goes, means this body also goes. There he gets to videha mukti. So there is Jivan Mukti and videha mukti. Now we are not going into how you develop sin, how you develop punya, what you should do to develop punya, what you should do, what you do to develop papa, that and all we don't discuss here. Right. Here we discuss only this and say, what is he saying? He who knows me as the Supreme Lord of the world. I'm just rephrasing it, okay? He who knows me as the Supreme Lord of the world. Within brackets, Saguna Brahma knowledge. Then me as beginningless, unborn. Nirguna Brahma Jnanam. That also he gets. He, undeluded among mortals. He, the Jivan Mukta, lives among the mortals. Is liberated of all sins. Attains videha mukti, dropping this body. The whole thing is over. You see, he finishes all this. From 4 onwards, he starts to explain the glory. What is that? He starts from 4 onwards. So first 3, just a build up. He says, what I'm going to teach. He introduces what I is going to teach. And he says, why I'm teaching it to you. Why I am teaching. Why I am teaching to you. Is there any other possibility? And what I'm going to teach, what is the effect? All this he covers in 3 verses. Okay. We'll see in the next class.